Welcome to Becoming Parents Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Campbell. I'm a doula in Washoe County, Nevada, a Medicaid provider, a lactation educator, childbirth educator, and mom of 18. You can find me and connect on doulainreno.com. Remember, give a shout out to those who are brave enough to share their stories with us on how they have become parents. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to Becoming Parents Podcast. I'm the host, Jennifer Campbell, and today I'm here with Dr. Aumatma, and I did that right. Yay, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm very excited about this. Your story is really interesting, and then what you do is really interesting. So I'm thrilled. I would love you to jump into your parenting journey.
hmm So, funny thing is, when I was young, I never thought I wanted kids. I actually hated kids. And I was like, get them away from me, leave me alone. I had a younger brother. So it was always like, he always wanted to be around, and I was like, leave me alone. I want to be with my friends. So I always just like thought I hated kids. Then I got into my 20s and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to have kids. Maybe one day. It's not really on my radar right now. And I was in naturopathic medical school. I was kind of like focused on what I was here to do, which I felt like was helping people to heal. And then I was in my late 20s. I married my now ex-husband. Um, but he was, so we got married, and then within a year of us getting married, he wanted to start trying for babies. And I was like, oh, children. And every time he said, let's have a kid or let's try, like my uterus would just scream, no. And I could not understand it. I was like, what is happening? I figured I'd have a child or two, or maybe not. Like I never really like thought it all the way through. So here I am in my mid 30s, like early 30s, and he really wanted children, and I was like, absolutely not. And like what kept coming to me was like, maybe I want to have children one day, but I really don't want to have them with him.
Oh,
And that was a big red flag for me because I was like, oops, I think I made the wrong decision here. If I don't want to have children with him, this might be a problem. So,
your TEDx
uh,
talk is so funny because I'm shouting out that have a TEDx talk, but I watched it and you were so funny about this, about your uterus screaming and being like, absolutely do not want to have children but that's a differentiating factor, right? It's not
right.
so that you don't want to have them at all, period. The
Hmm.
differentiating factor was you didn't want to have them with him. And then where
Yeah.
are you at in your relationship when you hit that point?
Oh gosh, I didn't say anything for a while because it was weird to me that I was married to someone that like my uterus was literally like viscerally responding to him making uh, making this ask and like wanting us to get on the same page around it. And like if my body is saying no to something, to me that's often intuition speaking up, right? And like I've never had that experience where like it was just so intense. It was something I really couldn't ignore. Looking back at it, for the year or two prior to that, my cycles were out of whack. My cramps were probably the worst that they had been since teenage years. And I literally, like, now looking back at it, I'm like, dude, this was so obvious. But in the moment, I didn't realize that like every part of my body was just like, you are in the wrong relationship with the wrong person. And uh and yeah, and so it threw me for a loop. I did what I do best, which is start researching. And by this point, I'd already been a naturopathic doctor for 5 years.
I
Okay.
ask you how long you had been, but I also think it's hard to look at yourself. Like we're too close, right? You can't
Hmm.
diagnose
Hmm.
yourself. You
Yeah.
can't, but so you're not even
It's
seeing, because I've gone to a naturopath for years, and
yeah.
it is a lot of intuition and a lot of like paying attention to your body and
Yeah.
So I think that that part was fascinating. I was going to ask you, like, wait, how long have you been a naturopathic physician at this?
Yep.
Because
Mhm.
you are not treating yourself like your patients.
No, no, absolutely not. And I think if it was a patient of mine, I would have been like, look, like your periods are out of whack. What's happening? Like, what are you doing in your life? What are you stressed about? And I wasn't looking at those things for myself. And it was such a like slow and steady downward spiral that I didn't catch myself until he started talking about babies. And that's when it all just clicked. And so I went into research mode and I was like, what can I find about fertility? Because from what I understand, it's going to drop off a cliff, and I'm really close to that cliff. And so I had to get clear within myself, like, do I really want to have children? And if I want to have children, then I need to figure out what I'm doing because that time is going to run out very quickly. And it took me about 9 months, and I went down a really deep place to self-reflection of yes or no on the kids, yes or no with him on the kids. And the first one was yes, the second one was no, and I was like, okay, it's probably time for a divorce. And I'm laughing about it now, but in the moment it was very scary. And like I'm of Indian descent, which like divorce in our communities is unheard of.
Mhm.
So it was a big like, you know, you're doing what? And I was like, I'm sorry, but this is gonna need to happen. Like I'm very clear that this is not the right decision for me. And so we went through a very messy divorce, but in the like the gift for me in that was really birthing what I call my first baby, which is my business around fertility. And it really brought to surface this a couple of things. One is that we don't realize that we are not going to have our fertility drop off of a cliff. So that's number one. And I think a lot of women are being told that, or we thought that, and we don't, it's not actually true. So realizing that, I was like, okay, so if there isn't a cliff, then I'm making decisions not out of fear. And I can make this
Ah,
decision from a logical place. And when I came to that point, I was like, oh, yeah, this is an easy decision now, right? Like, I'm not running off of the fear of I may never have kids. I'm actually like, hey, if this is not, if there's no cliff that I need to not go off of, then I have options and like a divorce, a second marriage, whatever, so be it. Like I will take whatever comes out of that decision. And I'm grateful still to this day that I did because I did meet someone really soon after the divorce, actually, like 3 weeks after the divorce. And all of my friends were like, yeah, that's a rebound relationship. And I was like, no. And within weeks, he was already like, we're in, let's do this, we're getting married. And I was like, we just met like 4 weeks ago. But like on some level, we both knew that we were meant to be together. And it took us a long time, like 6 or 7 years, till we finally decided, yes, we're gonna do this. And then we started trying for a baby. We actually got pregnant on the first try.
I thought you were going to tell
Um,
me like 3 weeks later you got married and then like the next month you were pregnant, but you
no,
actually,
gosh.
I mean, yes, okay, I agree with your friends that that seems like a rebound relationship. 3 weeks, a little soon, take some time.
Yes.
The other thing, you could have decided to stay in that marriage and not have children.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you
And
did have
that,
options. I love that you said it was a gift, the gifts
hmm
within this.
hmm
And I'm sorry it was messy and good that you
Okay.
didn't have kids,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could have
right?
been messier, and
Right.
I'm very glad it wasn't.
Right.
Uh,
Um, but I love all of the things you see as gifts because they really are. But I don't, in the middle of trials that are really emotionally exhausting, financially, sometimes physically exhausting, it's hard to really see the gifts that are there. And I think we
Hmm.
all have them.
Hmm.
I have this belief that every situation is a teaching and a learning. We're learning something from it, and we have the ability to teach that to other people if we so desire from
Hmm.
our experience. So that doesn't always help in the moment, though. But I love that you said that. So, but then you met him, but you wait another 6 years. So now you're in your late 30s.
Hmm. Yep, sure was.
Okay, what happened with your periods? Because they were crazy and you got out of the relationship. How, what were the things that rectified it, either medically, like
Hmm.
you went on a protocol, or emotionally? What switched your cycles?
Honestly, it was just voila, like magically periods got better.
So
And
emotional.
yeah, and it was like almost instantaneous. I don't even remember focusing on it. It was just like as soon as I decided that I was done with that relationship, I like that was it. It took us 9 months to finally like make it final. But with that decision, the instant I said I'm done, like we need to split and figure and go our separate ways. And it took him like it took him about 6 months to just realize that I was dead serious. Like this was not changing. And then another like 3, 4 months to like figure out the logistics. But in the midst of that, my periods had already gone back to regularity, ease, non-painful, not clotted, like just night and
Oh,
day, night and day. And then I never really thought about it again. It was like, okay, periods are done. Like I'm back to what I'm used to and would call my norm, which has stayed for the last 14-ish years. And I
holy.
have now I have cycles that are like, oh, this is a little wonky, but I'm getting into that like perimenopause period. So,
Oh, we could have
uh,
a conversation about that.
yeah, I'm sure we could.
So you guys met. Everybody thought you were crazy. You were totally
Mhm.
in, but then you wait 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
You had a
Yeah. So,
really solid relationship by this point.
yeah. Yeah. He had some things to work out with his ex that he was still working out. And we pretty much like took it easy. Like, even though I could have rushed us into it and he would have been fine. And like on some level, we both knew that we wanted to really like be together forever, potentially. It was still like, why don't we just take it one step at a time and build a solid foundation and not rush into things because I knew that I already had had one experience. I was like, I'm not signing up for another marriage. Like,
Right,
there was a little bit of like, I'm not stepping into this until I'm 150% sure that this is what I want to be doing.
right.
Um, and then there's like the family dynamic. He's American, which added a whole
Was that
layer.
hard?
Yeah.
Wow. I
Um,
kind of want to know about that. Why? Because Indian culture wants you to marry within Indian culture.
Yeah, so you're gonna find this really funny. And this is a very big generalization. I don't know if this is true for all parents, but my first husband was also American, but he was Jewish American. And my parents, my entire life, had been like, you need to marry an Indian person, Indian, 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 Indian. And then I told my dad, oh, he's Jewish. And my dad says, that's basically Indian. And I was
Oh,
like,
what?
what?
What? What?
That was literally the response was, that's basically Indian. And I was like, why didn't you tell me that there was this whole group of people that I could have chosen from? I would have had a very different life.
My
Uh,
gosh, that's so odd. I wonder if that's across the board or if that was very specific to your dad.
I think on some level there's like an idea that Indian people and Jewish people have a very similar culture. They're
Okay.
very like family oriented, they're very like religious. So he kind of equated it to like if this person's going to be American, he might as well be Jewish, right? Like that would be the
At
best of
least
all
there's
worlds.
at least we have that.
Right.
That's really
So I
nice.
got
There's a
I got almost no friction from him, from my dad
okay.
around that. And by that point, my mom had actually passed away. So it was just my dad like kind of making that decision. And then with my now husband, he's African American, which in Indian community is like a big faux pas. You
Oh,
don't you don't like if you're going to marry an American, he better not be black and he better not be Muslim. And my husband is both.
oh my
So
gosh.
I, I like literally tested all the boundaries.
What are
And
you doing with your life? Have you not watched the dating show from India on Netflix? It's great. It's awesome. She's my favorite.
oh, the woman that goes around like matching
Yes,
people, I
yes,
love her.
I
She's
love
so
her.
funny.
You did not follow any of her advice.
I
She's
did not.
so,
I did not
so
follow her
disappointed.
advice. And I just knew that my path is different.
Yeah.
And I am one of those people that is like, I'm going to follow my own intuition over everything else. So, yeah, as much as my parents had tried, they did not succeed in me
Fail.
marrying an Indian guy.
I think with like a 50% divorce rate, whatever the divorce rates are, I would be glad that my kids are in a healthy, functioning relationship
Hmm.
and they're really happy with themselves and within that relationship and like
Hmm.
the rest is secondary. But I know I'm a white girl from the US. So obviously I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many other things to be worried about other than
Hmm.
that. But that I know that's very cultural. So,
Hmm.
what did your dad say? Your poor dad.
My poor dad, he went through it, and unfortunately he passed away kind of suddenly, like a few months after I had even talked to him about this relationship. So we were like 5 or 6 years in to dating. And then I told my dad, like, hey, I want you to meet this guy. We've been dating for a while. And he like kind of flipped out and he's like, "What? No, no, we're not doing this." And and I was like, "I just need you to meet him because I think you would really like him." So I was like slowly working on him to get to the point where he would be open to connecting. And we lived on opposite sides of the country, so there was no like ease of, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna like bring him by for dinner." Um, so we were planning that, and then unfortunately my dad passed away. So that was the shifting point where I was like, okay, well, at this point, like I don't have anyone to convince. I just need to
Right,
do my life.
right.
And um that that in a sense was kind of the freedom that I need. Not that I was waiting for his approval, but I needed him to be on board, right? Like for my dad to just like meet him and accept him and like they would actually get along great. Yeah, my husband is more like my dad than anyone else in this world, right? Like he even some of the stuff that my dad would say, my husband says independently, never having met each other, are very similar energies. So they would have gotten along great. And I think at this point it would have been fine. But unfortunately, he never had that chance.
So you
Um,
guys had been dating
so
for how long before you did you decide to get married and then decide to have kids? And you said you got pregnant on the first try, which that took all the fun out of it.
well, for me being in the fertility space, so at that point I had been working in the fertility space for 7, 8 years.
Okay.
So, like everything that I heard was like how hard it is. You know, like all of my patients and clients are like, "Oh my God, is this ever going to happen?" And "Oh my God, we've been through so many pregnancy losses." So, I did not expect it to happen
No, I
on the
wouldn't have
first
either.
try, right? But there was something that like my my husband, he had been asking for a year. He was like, "Are we ready? Are we ready? Do we want to do this? Do we want to have a kid?" And he had a weird thing. He wanted to like get pregnant before we got married. And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just want to." And I was like, "Okay, like it makes no difference. We're basically married already, so
Right.
who cares?" Um, so I was okay with it. And like the day we conceived, he was like, "Should we try?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually we should." And that was it. That was the day we
Oh my
conceived.
gosh, you're so boring.
I know.
But
I was like, "Today's the day. It's gonna
you've been
happen."
working in the space, and I'm sure getting your body ready, not necessarily ready. Yeah, I mean, getting yourself as healthy as possible to
Hmm.
eventually do this. So you had already shifted gears, and that would have included yourself too.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. I was doing all the things that I would tell my clients to do.
how old were you at that point?
I got pregnant at 37.
Okay, so I would have guessed 38. So I'm keeping track roughly.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm. Yep.
awesome. I
So
mean, I hate the AMA. As a
AMH.
doula, eh, advanced maternal age.
Oh, yes.
My
Oh my
gosh, like
God.
I
Goodness.
hate it.
The whole like geriatric
Yeah,
pregnancy, which I knew of it, but to experience that in a clinic, like I went to my OB
right.
and literally the first three times that I met with her while pregnant, she was like, "Oh, because you're a geriatric pregnancy, because you're a geriatric," and she would just keep saying it.
It's true.
And the third visit, I was like, "Listen, do you have to keep reminding me every time? Because it's starting to feel really weird." And she's like, "No, honestly, like we're required to remind our women over 35 that they're high maternal risk and that they are potentially like signing up for something like it's just it's like a weird insurance thing
Yeah.
that they want us to be warned that we are at risk."
It's awful
And
for the person. It's awful.
totally, like who wants to keep hearing you're geriatric? Like
And the stats aren't
uh
that staggering. I mean, they do go up over time. Like 45 is different than 37, but I mean, I don't even understand why it's such a risk. Not that
mhm,
we can
mhm,
change that, but
mhm,
um, that stinks. So,
mhm.
how was your pregnancy?
I had a relatively easeful pregnancy, except for the weirdest dreams that I was going to have a pregnancy loss.
Oh no, that's
So,
weird.
for
Yeah,
the first 5 months of the pregnancy, we didn't tell anybody. I would literally wake up shaking, like, "I'm gonna have a loss." And like, granted, so much of that was me taking on fears of all of my clients because this is what I work with, and our specialty is recurrent pregnancy loss. So I was like, I'm literally going to go through the same thing, and I'm not ready for it. I don't know if I can handle it, like all of these things. And then after about 5 months, I was something shifted, and I was like, okay, I think we're keeping this pregnancy. Like, we're gonna be okay. So then like other than that, things were really smooth. No nausea, no vomiting, nothing. Like just
so happy for you.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for
Bless your
all the
heart
women
on
that
that
are
one.
listening that are like, "Screw her."
I made up for you in 700 other women. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But I mean, great. That's great. It was great that
Yeah.
you had a relatively easy pregnancy. That's no matter what your age is, having nothing to do with geriatric. It's great
Hmm.
you had an easy pregnancy.
Hmm. Yeah. And that was true all the way up until 2 weeks before the due date. I had a private practice. I had been grooming a doctor to take over the practice while I was on mat leave
Mhm.
for almost 2 years.
Oh,
She quit on me 2 weeks before, or like a month before the due date. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I have to quit. I just can't be here anymore. And I was like, I'm leaving on mat leave in a month. Like, you couldn't have done this sooner or like waited till for 3 months after I get back. So I was very like shooken up by that. And it took me the good part was that I pretty much was in a good place with most clients that they were pregnant and getting like going through their own pregnancies, and I wasn't taking on any new clients. So there was not going to be any like weird people hanging out like waiting for me to come back for 3 months,
right.
which was the good part. The not so good part was me, like, basically in 2 weeks, I had to figure out how I was going to shut everything off, shut it down, and be okay to be away for 3 months.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, I have 2 weeks of work, then I start my mat leave. I have 2 weeks before the due date. And the day I started my maternity leave, I got a call from my OB, and she was like, "You need to come to the hospital right now." And I was like, "What's happening?" And she's like, "I just saw your numbers. It looks like you might have preeclampsia. We don't know for sure. We need to get this baby out." And I was like, "What the hell? I just started my leave. Like, I haven't even had a moment to breathe. I'm not ready for this." So I wasn't ready. I don't think my kid was ready to come out. So that delivery was like a nightmare. It was literally like 40 hours nonstop. The first 12 hours was um I didn't want Pitocin, so they started with a Foley bulb.
Yep.
That thing, oh my God, why don't they tell us how like intensely painful that thing is? It's literally like trying to expand your cervix with pressure. So every 15 minutes, it's timed for the pressure to increase. So they put it in at midnight for 8 hours. Every 15 minutes, I was waking up with like, ah, and then it would stop, and then it would start again and stop. I was like, and so at 8 a.m., the OB comes in and she's like, "Oh, it doesn't look like you're that dilated." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Okay, we just keep going." And I was like, "How many more hours of this?" She's like, "We're just gonna keep going." And then apparently there was a shift change. The next OB comes in and he like yanked the Foley bulb out. And he's like, "You're not dilated at all. Like, why? Why do they have this in?" And I was like, "I don't know, because I didn't want Pitocin." And he's like, "I'm sorry, just take the Pitocin. It's going to be so much faster than giving you another 12 hours on a Foley bulb." He's like, "It's not working. You're not any closer to delivering this baby than you were at midnight, well, yesterday." And I was like, "Oh my God." So that was the roller coaster of the delivery, which was not fun. Not at all as I had planned or expected, which
Right.
I'm sure as a doula, you're like,
Yeah.
"Yep,
I
that's
mean,
kind of how it
inductions,
goes."
if you're my client and we had this whole situation figured out in the birth plan and you said the word induction, it's a separate meeting and a new birth plan because it 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 is not normal. Your body is not ready. You're forcing your body to do something that it doesn't
Yeah,
want to do. It's very
right.
resistant and it's really hard. It's so hard on you. So you
Yeah.
but I'm surprised by this process so far. I would have been having chats with you about it, but you eventually end up getting an epidural. This is
Yes,
so
I
hard
did.
on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I did. I did. I wanted a natural pain, just like I don't want to take the epidural. At some point, I think it was probably like 7 hours into the Pitocin that I was like, "Okay, I think I need the epidural."
Yeah.
And even when I was telling, and actually, like for the few hours leading up to that, nurses kept coming in to check on me, and they were like, "You're still smiling, you're fine." And I was like, "No, I'm not fine. I'm in a lot of pain. Just because I have a smile on my face does not mean I'm okay." And they just couldn't compute. And then finally, like at the 7 hour point, I was like, "Okay, you guys, just give me the epidural. Like, I'm done. I'm so wasted at this point."
Yeah.
And then this is the hilarious part. They like put the so whatever whoever did that insertion did not do it properly, because at some point, like during active labor, I kept hitting the epidural shot and nothing was shifting. I was just like, I don't feel anything. Should I be feeling anything? And they're like, oh, just take another shot. And I'm like, I literally don't feel any pain relief. Is this what it's supposed to feel like? And they're like, yeah, you're fine. After the delivery, the head of anesthesia came to see me, like probably the day after the delivery. I was still in the hospital. He's like, so what happened with your epidural? And I was like, I didn't feel anything. And he's like, yeah, I think they screwed up. Like they didn't actually insert it properly. So
Obviously, something wasn't right.
I'm like, I think it's supposed to numb the pain, but I still feel all the pain. So that was kind of funny in the moment, not funny.
Yeah.
Um, but it is what it is. We get through it.
I
It
mean,
was
there's nothing else you can do. There's no way through
right,
but through.
right,
So
right.
it was a boy. You had a baby.
I did, yeah.
And how old is he now?
He's 7.
Wow. So how has your experience changed your practice?
Mm. I think I have like a much deeper appreciation for the desire that people come in with to have a child. Like I can feel it more. Whereas before, I feel like it was a very, like, I got it. Like, yes, some women want to have children. I just never related to that, like, intensity of it. Versus now, I'm like, yeah, I totally understand why someone would want this so intensely and be so committed to it. And for me, like, because that desire was never as strong, I had always just been like, well, if it doesn't happen, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna like go drive myself nuts to have a child. But
Right.
now, in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, this is totally worth it.
Yeah.
um it's like they're challenging and they're beautiful and they help you grow. Mostly I feel like it's that, and on the occasion you get some love and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it
It
make
is
my heart
worth
melt.
it. Kids are designed to string us along, I think. Like, not that we're going to get
Give
rid
you
of them,
just
right?
enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like we're like, you know what, I have had enough of this crap, you're out. It's not like that's even the plan, but they give us that love and we're like, I can make it through another day.
Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
parents, I mean, I think it's harder than you think it's going to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, totally.
It's so much harder
Totally.
and it's so worth it. And there's so much joy and it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get
Yep.
that. But when you want a child, you don't care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
if I told you, like, oh, you're going to do it and it'll happen, but it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, you would have been, no, it's okay. I'll be fine. And then you're doing it. And you're, why did everybody tell me? You wouldn't have listened. I wouldn't have made
You wouldn't listen, yeah.
parents.
And
This whole journey, it's like explaining to somebody what salt tastes like who's never had salt. It's
mm,
like impossible to explain in a way that they are going to understand.
hmm, yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, you have to experience it to know what it's going to be like. And like everyone's experience is so different,
Different.
right?
Different.
So different. And children are so different.
Yep.
Um like our child is wonderful in so many ways. And like I can see the places that I struggle with him are exactly the places that make him that are going to contribute to his success in the world, right? Like him challenging me on everything and him like he's really vocal about advocating for himself and he can be like he's 7 years old, but this kid can like have an argument and like completely make sense to the point where I'll be like, okay, you win. Like, I'm not going to fight you on this because
Yep.
you have a very logical explanation of why you should. Um, so, and we're both the type of parents that are okay with that. Like, we let him reason himself into whatever it is that he wants to be doing. And if he can give a good explanation, then he may get to do it. Like, it's okay. Um, so I think the it's really interesting for me to watch how the experience that we're having is A, helping us grow as humans in the ways that we need to. And he has such different dynamics with me and my husband. So it's also very interesting to watch that
Mhm.
experience. And then, yeah, like it certainly it is the way that it affects my business is twofold. It's like one, the mission is bigger now. It's like it went from, oh, I get to help the people that I'm in connection with to like this is way bigger and it's a bigger and bigger problem. So in the last 15 years, fertility has been going down, down, down as a
Yeah.
culture, as a community. So we have I feel like it's a wake up call for humanity in a lot of ways. And so that has strengthened my purpose and like the work that I do in the world. And at the same time, I'm like, how do I spend less time to create a bigger impact? Because I want that time with my child as well. So it feels like a really interesting pull.
Aumatma, I'm gonna shout out about you because you're the links are all in the bio. You have a really fantastic website. It's super, super comprehensive. Your blog section's massive, and you have a best-selling book that people can
Hmm.
buy on Amazon called Fertility Secrets, and there's a link to that on the website. But I'm really proud of the work that you've done. Um, you've done it on yourself and with other people, and so I'm just so happy, as a doula. I It brings me a lot of joy when someone else is making a significant impact in the lives of others in a situation that's super physically and emotionally challenging. So I'm gonna shout
Yeah.
out there. Tell me the easiest way for people to get in touch with you. And do you work with anybody out of your area? I don't even know where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So I live in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Our work is global. And we work in two ways. We have the people that we actively support that we call clients, but I just have a startup that is about to launch. We're probably 2 weeks away from the launch. And that is the bigger mission, bigger impact without me being actively involved in the day to day. And it's taking all of my brain, uh, like all the things that I've been working on and like making connections with into kind of a DIY process that people can use to help understand what's at the root cause of their fertility struggle or potential root cause if they haven't even started trying yet, and can help walk them through the preparation so that the likelihood is less that they will need support, whether it's my support, whether it's IVF, whether it's whatever, that they should be able to make headway instead of the wait 6 to 12 months of trying before we start doing testing, before we start trying to unpack what might be happening with your fertility. So,
I love that.
um, Mhm. Yeah. And that company is also it's mostly within the US right now. Anyone can do the assessment, but we can't ship everywhere. So,
Oh,
um
that's the other website that I saw, and I didn't click the
yeah.
link. I didn't want to take the test because I'm not. I am done. That ship has sailed. I don't even
Yeah.
have a uterus. So,
Yeah.
um, I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for being on and sharing, and for the work that you're doing helping people. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Jen. This was so awesome.